What's going on, y'all? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. You know I am. No, but seriously, this Tiffany & Co collaboration is bomb as fuck. Like, I'm a huge fan of this Tiffany & Co collaboration. I think a lot of people, my wife was telling me people were pissed off in the comments. Maybe it was on Instagram, maybe it was on their website. I'm not sure. I went to take a look at it and see what the MSRP is, but I'm assuming that this is already sold out. I'm assuming that it's been popular enough, or the scalpers wanted to resell it enough that it already got bought out, because you can see listings on eBay right now, mainly for the less desirable, in my opinion, sterling silver chain. And I'll put some images right now of all of these items, just so you guys can see them. But anyways, the Tiffany & Co collaboration I think is a really cool one. And in honor of that, I'm wearing my very designer, very chic, very desirable Tiffany & Co collaboration Snorlax teal shirt. Yeah, this shirt is anti-sweat proof. It's anti-shrink, even though every time I wash it, it does tend to get a little bit smaller. But they said it's patented technology. It also has a small hole in the middle, which is part of the design, part of the distress wear. No, but seriously, guys, I think a lot of people are upset about how expensive this collaboration is, how the average Pokemon fan is probably not going to be able to afford something like this, nor really want it. I think some people are, hating on the idea that, like, oh my god, Pokemon's reached a point now where people are turning it into this, aesthetic, this brand wear. But I think a lot of people are really unhappy about that. Me personally, you want to know my take on it? As much as I will joke about how expensive this is and how the average collector is not going to collect something like this, I think it's fantastic, honestly. I myself have a couple deck holder Pokeballs. I just really liked the idea of, if I did ever want to play competitively, I would have a Pokeball to put cards into. So I would go to the tournament and I would pull out my deck like so out of these little Pokeballs. If you don't have these, honestly, I think they're awesome. Probably not the best for storing your cards. But anyways, you guys get the idea. I think it's pretty cool that there's this teal solid Pokeball. I think it's beautiful, honestly. I think that's what the fans are mainly going to want. If they did another rollout of just the Pokeball, you bet your bottom dollar that people would be buying that Pokeball. I honestly think that big fans and enthusiasts in the hobby would be buying that Pokeball. Now let's talk about the chains. Let's talk about the shine. Let's talk about the flex wear. Okay, so we've got a couple different tiers. And all these tiers run over $20,000. But we've got a couple different tiers for the Tiffany line of their jewelry. Okay, you've got the Pikachu pendant and necklace, which is an 18K yellow gold. Which, mind you, a lot of people are gawking at the price, but I think a lot of people don't understand jewelry and don't understand gold and how all that works, all right? So two things come to mind for me. One, I actually have 18 karat chains, so I know the value of gold. I like to actually wear something that goes up in value also. I think that's really cool. It's the same reason I like watches. It's fashionable and I get to enjoy it. It's the same reason I like sneakers. It's the same reason I like cars. I like to enjoy things that I can use on a day-to-day basis. Whereas the cards are very stable. They're protected. They sit here. They don't get worn down or get damaged, but also you can only enjoy your card collection to an extent. I can come into this room once a day and look at my cards for 5-10 minutes. I can only enjoy that stuff to an extent. This is why I need those other things in my life to be grateful and appreciate. And granted, you don't need things to be grateful about your life and to appreciate things, but for me it just helps me remind myself of where I've come from and how far I've come. But anyways, talking about this chain, this Pikachu pendant. Now the Pikachu pendant itself with the gold chain is about $9,200. It's like $91.88, something like that. Out of the gate, after tax, you're still spending, at least in North Carolina, you're gonna end up spending about $10,000 to get this chain. Now, is that so crazy being 18K with that thick Pikachu pendant? If it's solid 18K yellow gold, guys, it's not that crazy. Now, I will say I don't know how thick that chain is. I can't tell exactly what millimeter that chain is, but from what limited information I can see, and based on how thick that Pikachu pendant is, and if that thing is solid gold, which would be nuts. And no, I'm not saying solid 24 karat, 22 karat, but I do like the idea of yellow gold. That really, yellow gold has the aesthetic and the appeal of real pure 24 karat, 22 karat gold. But it's 18K, which is great because 18 gives you the durability. If you're looking at chains, side note, and you want to buy jewelry, 18K is the way to go in my opinion. It holds up. The market on 18K holds up, and it's extremely durable to the conditions and the weather, and sweat and all that good stuff. You can wear it into the pool. It's not a big deal. You can't really do that with pure gold. It's very malleable. It's very sensitive. Anyways, moving forward, so if it's not solid 18K gold, absolute gimmick. I mean, absolute gimmick. Now, in the fashion world, for a company like Tiffany Co, I remember, I remember back when I was in high school, maybe early college, when I was more into sneakers, the Tiffany SB Dunks came out. And the same color as this little Snorlax, this kind of teal bluish color, that Tiffany blue. They came out and it was all the rage. People went crazy. Everybody wanted a pair of those SB Dunks. Everybody wanted the highs, they wanted the lows. Everybody wanted them, they wanted that colorway. I think the same goes for this Pokeball and this Pikachu pendant. The Pokeball being that teal blue, holding the pendant. It's pretty badass. I mean, I like it. I personally like it. I have nothing against it. I would rock it. I would wear it. That's the type of person that I am. I actually joked with Diana at some point about going to my jeweler and exchanging all of my jewelry, all of my old rings, all of my chains currently, my bracelets, which I don't wear a lot of that stuff on the channel anymore because I don't want to look like a huge D-bag. But I will say that when I got heavy into Pokemon, there was a light bulb that went off in my head that was like, dude, you need a Pikachu pendant. You need a Pikachu pendant. Gengar pendant would be really cool. Charizard pendant would be really cool. But all in all, I think I'm a bigger Pikachu fan than any other Pokemon. And so I joked about getting one of those. So it's fitting that Tiffany Co, their light bulb has gone off and they're like, you know what? Let's give the people what they want before this whole pop culture fad goes out of style again for the next 5-10 years. That may not happen. Pokemon may be solidified in its position for the next decades to come. I believe that will be the case. I think that there was such an impact these past couple years. People like myself coming back into the hobby, going full tilt into collecting and appreciating everything that it has to offer. We've seen so many cool collaborations. The Van Gogh card collaboration recently with all that merchandise, which I still don't have a poster. I really want a poster. But we had that. We had the skateboard collection, which was known about for a long time. I didn't know about it. Everyone says that this was common knowledge. Some of these collaborations are not common knowledge. I didn't even know about the Tiffany Co collaboration until I saw it on PK's channel. So it was when I saw that I was like looking into it. So I'm grateful for all the creators, everybody that's on YouTube right now that's making content, that's reminding us of what's coming out, of what deals are to come. I can't remember. There was another creator that showed me about the Classic Collection before I knew anything about the Classic Collection coming out, even though that's pretty mainstream at this point. But I'm not like, I don't get the drop on all the information. So it's nice to get information secondhand from other channels, and then be able to do my own dive into it. But from what I see, if this chain and the pendant is solid gold, It's honestly, it's worth it. It's worth it. The gold market is doing really well. In hard times, which our economy may be facing or is already facing, gold tends to fare really well. Pretty much one of my better investments, honestly, all the little gold pieces that I bought that I wear, like all that stuff has pretty much rose in value. And that's it's harder to argue with because the gold market has been something that's kind of ingrained in us. As human beings, we have liked shiny things since the dawn of time. This is probably one of the reasons why we love shiny cardboard, is because it has that shiny facade, that thing that draws us in like a lure, like fish in the pond. Like, honestly, I like the chain, and my only gripe with it is if it's not solid gold, it's too expensive. No one should be even trying to scalp something like that where it doesn't even hold true value. No one should be trying to invest in something like that where it doesn't hold true value. And no one should be just buying it for the enjoyment when it doesn't hold true value. When you can have a chain like that made for yourself, maybe you can find the Pokeball secondhand and you can get the Pokeball and then make your own chain out of real solid gold. That would probably be, honestly, in my opinion, a better solution than to paying for a plated non-solid gold chain. Now, something tells me that it is solid 18K. And even with solid 18K, 9 grand may still be a little bit shooting high. Even if it was solid with the chain and the pendant, you know, depending on how heavy that pendant is, how big that pendant is, I can't quite tell how big it is. It looks like it's about yay big, but depending on, you know, that being how big that is, not being hollowed out, the full thing being solid, in 18K it might be worth around 5 or 6 grand, and they're doing a design and they've got some, you know, BS diamonds in there, you know, which I call them BS, but like almost all diamonds are BS, okay? Diamonds are really valueless. This is why I have gold. This is why I don't have any iced out stuff, because I don't believe in buying into diamonds. I also don't like the diamond trade itself. That's kind of a dirty business if you know anything about diamonds. But anyways, it is a freaking dope chain. And at 9 grand, I don't know if it's the worst thing in the world with the custom design, with being from Tiffany Co, you have the receipts and everything. Something like that could be very collectible, could be very valuable down the road. And if you're already somebody that enjoys jewelry and enjoys aesthetics and fashion and pop culture, all those things kind of collide with the Tiffany Co collaboration. I think it's really cool, honestly. I have not watched any other videos on it. I've only seen, you know, thumbnails on it or postings on it. I have not seen anybody's actual content, so I honestly have no bearing on how the whole community feels about the Tiffany Co pendant. I'm just putting my thoughts out there. Might pop something in the Discord and ask you guys how you feel about this Tiffany Co pendant. If you were, you know, a millionaire or whatever, and you could just afford to throw away money, is this something that you would buy just for shits and giggles purely? I don't know. I'd like to know y'all's thoughts on that. But that's just one chain, right? So there's this, the Pikachu, which is the one that I think everybody's gonna want. You need to buy the Pikachu. It exclusively comes with the Pokeball, from what I understand so far. But there's several other ones. There's a Pikachu, I believe a Bulbasaur, a Squirtle, a Mewtwo, a Jigglypuff, which I guess I understand the Jigglypuff with Tiffany Co kind of being like girly aesthetic fashion brand. And then there's a Cubone, which even in the article about this that I read, it seemed like, why is Cubone in there? I have no idea why Cubone got thrown in there. The same thing, but I don't really understand why Jigglypuff got thrown in there. Mewtwo makes a lot of sense. The article writer was like, I would totally rock a Mewtwo chain. Pretty cool, especially with 151 being right, you know, just recently released. I think the Mewtwo makes a lot of sense. But it makes me wonder with Tiffany Co, why did they pick Jigglypuff and why did they pick Cubone? I'm thinking that somebody in higher up thought that Jigglypuff was cute for the ladies and Cubone was maybe good for the guys. I don't know. Maybe that's jumping the gun. I would like to actually know more on why those specific Pokemon were added. The starters make sense. Iconic, Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur. Who doesn't love those? But those are all only available in a sterling silver. And then there's additionally, those are about $1,100 a piece for any of those other 6. Is it 6? Can I count? I don't know. And then there's the sterling silver chain that comes with all those pendants on it, and that's $7,000. Now that is a complete ripoff. In my opinion, that sterling silver chain looks horrendous. Aesthetically, it looks horrendous. Value-wise, I don't think it's gonna hold any value. I can't imagine someone wearing that and it looking good. Now, somebody who's very iconic, somebody who's very, celebrity, somebody could wear that and maybe pull it off. I don't know how you could pull something like that off. Looks kind of silly to me. Whereas, a lot of people are probably going to think the Pikachu gold necklace and pendant looks silly. But I think it's dope. I honestly think it's dope. I could do away without the diamonds, the little crystals in there, whatever that crap is. I could do away with that and just have it be solid gold. But overall, I think it's really cool. I think that blue Pokeball looks really cool. And I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts on it. Overall, it's interesting, to see these things pop up, to see that, even though some of us think that it was a hype bubble the last couple years, Pokemon is slowing down, people are getting out of the hobby, it's still very heavily ingrained in pop culture, and to see a collaboration like this says that it's still very popular. To see it kind of sell out and already be on the secondhand market, being sold and scalped, that tells me that Pokemon from here may never be the same. It may never be the same hobby. It may never be the same collectible. And honestly, even as I spent, and I'll do a separate video talking about this, but I spent all night listing up a bunch of slabs. Those are going to help with the hospital bills from the vacation. But I spent all night listing those slabs, and I'm thinking to myself, you're shortchanging yourself, Orion. Right now is a buyer's market, 1. So they might not even sell in this market. It might honestly take months for this stuff to sell at the price that I want it to sell at. But 2, I'm thinking this stuff's going to be more valuable down the road. Even if it's, CGC or BGS or PSA, I think it's kind of irrelevant. Those grading companies have kind of, become ingrained in the culture. They're now popularized. I think CGC is a pretty safe bet at this point, even though we're not a big fan of their newest labels. I kind of like their newest labels, not gonna lie, but a lot of people don't like CGC. Not gonna talk about that, but I don't know. I think I might be shortchanging myself on trying to sell these now and not waiting. A lot of people think it's a dumpster fire. This is not my opinion, but a lot of people are just they have the opinion of just get out now while you can. And I just don't think that's the case. I think that this franchise is probably the strongest it's ever been, and it might be taking a little bearish dip just to trend right back up. So that'll be interesting to see, and it'll be interesting to watch this week and see what this Tiffany Co collaboration, what this is going to sell for on the secondhand market. Again, I think the coolest thing here, if they could produce this again and do another line and extend, manufacturing of this, if they could do just the Pokeball in that, Tiffany color, if they could do just that Pokeball, that would be lit. Honestly, who would not want that? Honestly, I would, if they could do that for $1,000, I would rather sell my Evolutions booster box and just have a Tiffany Co Pokeball right here. I honestly think that would be really dope. I would enjoy it. I like the colors. I like the aesthetic is a solid, heavyweight collectible. I like that. For some reason, this collaboration really appeals to me, and I think it's pretty cool. But let me know what you guys think. Am I crazy? Am I delirious? Should I just stick to, buying cards and, don't, Orion, you're making a huge mistake here. Don't even think about, and guys, I'm not saying that I'm interested in buying this, collaboration piece, but I definitely want to know what you guys think. And I want to know, do you think Orion, this is a bad decision for anybody to make? This is ridiculous. This is just, this is just pop culture being taken advantage of and people are gonna get got buying this collaboration? Or do you think that people could buy this collaboration and then, you know, in a couple of years, this could be worth way more money and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's the Tiffany Co Pokeball, it's super rare. Will this also open the gateway to becoming something even bigger? Will this now be so popular? Will Tiffany Co, are they like, okay, this worked and this sold out, what should we do from here now? Are we basically, should we just do another line of this? Should we do, you know, a Great Ball version, which is what this is, the Great Ball, which has the little accents right here. You know, a Master Ball, Ultra Ball version. You know, they already did the Pokeball version, but like, are they gonna do different iterations, different variations of this collaboration piece? I think that would be actually really dope. And maybe even they could scale down the price and have different options for people. I still think the gold was a strong move. I think that, you know, obviously not many people are gonna be able to afford that. The average salary in this country is probably like $40,000 to $50,000. So to get that whole collaboration piece, to collect that would be half of your average person's salary. Kind of ridiculous. And even just for the Pikachu pendant and that teal Pokeball would still be about 10 grand, would still be about a quarter of the average person's salary. It's a lot of money. There's no arguing on that. But I do think that there's a place for it, and I think it's pretty cool. Anyways, that's my spiel for the day. Peace out, guys.